So we're going to work on a Rube Goldberg project. We just watched the video from OK Go called This Too Shall Pass. And I know a lot of things happened in the video, but what do we remember happens, like the last thing that happens to the 4 band members in the video? Yeah, you get squirted with paint, like a different color of paint. Okay. So obviously there's a billion things that happen beforehand going on in the video. And that kind of defines a Rube Goldberg machine for us. I know maybe that's not a term we've all heard before. But basically to define it is just a simple task, like maybe putting toothpaste on a toothbrush or tying your shoes. But shown with like an excessive amount of steps, an unnecessary amount of steps, I would say. Okay. So when we make this in Illustrator, our goal is to learn how to draw a little bit better and how to make some more customized shapes. When we did the Lego person, like I gave you the most of the shapes are pretty straightforward. They weren't too complex. So this is teaching us to make things a little bit more complex as we start to draw a little bit more through the process. Okay? So these were 2 student examples here that I have. And it's pretty much up to you how you want to pursue it. But I'm asking you to have about 4 to 6 other tasks before your final one is completed. And then I'm asking you to make 3 different types of shapes here, and we'll point those out in a moment. So we'll look at this one, feeding a pet, which is this blue one here, where the dog gets a steak. There's a bunch of other things going on at the top. So it starts out with a fan, and what does it look like it's blowing? A boat into the dominoes, and it falls down, and that somehow pushes the elephant through the hoop to get his peanut and hits this little box. And the elephant triggers this chain, which drops the food for the dog. And I don't have a preference on how you hold your paper. You could hold it vertically, horizontally. You can make it a really, really long piece of paper for this. I've noticed, like, over the years, just you don't have to make it standard paper size. It tends to work a little bit easier that way. Then in the yellow print here, we have like the 3 things I'm going to ask you to look for. So I'm going to go over these in red pen so we could see it. So we're going to make a new shape using the Pathfinder Unite, which is when we just take 2 shapes and mush them together. So that could be a lot of different shapes. Chances are when they made the elephant here, they merged together a bunch of different shapes, probably like the legs into the body, just to merge those into one big shape was like a good example of that. I'll just clear that each time I do it. All good. Don't worry about it. And then they're also asking us to use the minus front tool. So we used that a little bit when we did our Lego person. Do you remember when we used minus front on our Lego person? What body part rings a bell that we could have used the minus front? It's like when we make a donut. If you start with a circle and you put another circle in the middle and you remove that little donut hole. Do you remember something kind of similar to that we did with the Lego person? Yeah, the hands, exactly. Awesome job. So I know this one's probably really hard to see, but minus front was probably this little piece of the sail here. They could have even used it on the ear too. I have you like mark it off when you submit the project. Okay. And then the last one was make a trapezoid-like shape like free transform. So they have a lot of trapezoids here on these little platforms here. So those are the 3 things that I am going to look for with those. Okay. Do you have any questions about those 3 things I'm looking for in your Rube Goldberg? Okay. All right. So I do have some more examples of Rube Goldbergs on here. Like it started out as like a cartoon, almost like found in a newspaper. So I have some links here to show you some traditional examples of them. Hopefully this loads sometime soon. And I think I have another article on here about some engineering with Rube Goldberg you could check out. But the big part of our project is just taking our piece of paper and planning it out on paper, and then we just trace over it digitally. I'm in the process of securing you some more tablets, so if you want to draw it with a tablet, When we get to the digital portion, I'm happy to do that, and that could be nice too. We'll wait for that to load, and we'll get back to that little piece there. Okay. But we can keep looking at our samples in the meantime. And we're going to get graded on our sketch. It'll be about 20 points. And then I'll scan it into Google Classroom for you. You'll be able to open it in Illustrator. And then we basically just draw on top of it just like this. I don't really have any rules about the way you want to color it. Some people like to keep it pretty simple and kind of monochromatic, like this purpley one here, which is just all purple tones. Some people like to keep like a more white background and then color each item different bright colors. So you have a lot of options when it comes to stuff like that. Do you have any questions so far? Anything else coming to mind? Okay, so take some time. Feel free to watch over the video because that will give you some options to think about with your project. And then you can start planning different things out. You should have a pretty pronounced start and end, which I wish these students had a little bit more because you kind of don't know where your eye should start or end. At least this purple one here has a flag and you're like, oh, that's the end. But when you hit start, when you're going to see start, you don't know if like the start is in the corner here or if it's in the corner here. So let me actually open. If you want to go in here, we can kind of sketch it out a little bit. So you can treat this just as like a big piece of paper. You can hold it either direction you want. And like I said before, you're going to have like a set start. Close enough. And you'll start your project, start drawing it out, and then have a set end. So for example, this piece here, she's got this bar where it looks like a ball is going to move down, down, down. Maybe I'll just start my bar here. And then she had a little ball. And she has it hit these charts here. So it goes down like that. If as you're working, you realize like it doesn't fit on your paper the right way, don't worry. I'll give you more paper and we can kind of adjust it as time goes on. Okay. All right. Any questions so far?